Hi, my loves. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jess from BehatiLife. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's so wild to me how life kind of connects you with exactly what you're supposed to be doing, who you're supposed to be with at the right time, at the right moment, underneath the energy of the full moon. I wanted to come on here and share a message with you. The more you're in your element, the more that you're creative, the more that you're in flowing from your heart, the more effortless things are. And that was actually one of the messages that came through today, was the word effortless. And I wanted to share this message with you. No matter where you're at, no matter what you're going through, I'm setting the intention that this message, because it hit me hard, as it always does. It always boggles my mind and surprises me what comes through. So I hope that wherever you are in this moment, that this makes sense to you, that it hits you, that it changes the course of your life for your highest and greatest good, and just connects you with your path. That being said, I do have some cards that came up, but you guys know how I work. I'll look at the cards and messages will come through them that are triggered from the images. So I wrote those down because I didn't want to forget. It's interesting because with this full moon, there's so many planets currently that are retrograde at the timing of me filming this, but who knows when you'll see this. But a lot of energy, although it looks like it's taking steps back, and energetically and cosmically it's taking steps back, what I'm getting while I'm looking at the cards and while I'm working with this energy, it almost seems like it's a setup. It almost seems that we are, if anything, if you're connecting to anything from the past, it's passion, and it's things that actually were lying repressed and dormant. And our fear, our hesitation, our belief, how we perceive the future and what we think can happen is what stops us from getting into a space that is abundant and allows us to abundantly receive. And what I saw and what I'm seeing is, and let me just take a step back. Remember, this month, we've been working so much with the lotus and lotus energy, which it comes from the muck of the water. It comes from the muck of what has been lying there underneath. And I want you to think, as I'm talking about this lotus, what is it that in your own life, what is it that's been lying dormant? Some of it has been from the past, but sometimes it's things in the now that we don't even realize, we don't even recognize, that's just kind of sitting there mucky and dirty and stagnant and clouding our water and clouding our vision. But if we allow the water to sit and to still, we start to become creative again. We start to become imaginative. We start connecting with our intuition. And the more that we give ourselves that space and that time to create clarity, which means in a lot of ways kind of pulling back from the chaos, the more the water clears and the more we're able to focus and the more we're able to see. When we're able to see, when we're able to feel, then we're able to move into a space that it's just easy and effortless. That was the biggest word that has been, on repeat for me. Easy and effortless. If it's not effortless and if you're fighting this mountain, then you need to find a way to flow and to not fight as much, as hard, especially as these planets are retrograde. So Mars currently is retrograde, Saturn is currently retrograde, Pluto is retrograde, and I believe Jupiter is as well. I don't have my laptop in front of me, but I'm, remembering this off the top of my head. And what happens is when these planets are retrograde, they give you permission to ease off of you doing the most. The majority of us have been going through so much, whether it be things that we're working on or things that we want to achieve and to accomplish. And then on top of that, it's life circumstances that kind of keeps us constantly paddling and constantly paddling. So we're working with this energy of strength, and it's hard for us as human beings to take a step back and to ease off of the direction, ease off of the oars, ease off of power, ease off of hitting the gas. And what I don't want you to think is that, and what the cards and the energy and spirit is making so clearly known, is that you taking your foot off of the gas does not mean that you are also hitting the brake, because you have propelled so much, like you have created so much energy and so much momentum that you're going to keep on going. But now you're taking that momentum and you're giving it to a higher power. Remember, you are a human being, but the majority of you is also divine, and all of you is divine, and that is connected to divine spirit. So when you let go and you let God, you allow yourself to get into a space of movement, effortless movement, without you having to call the shots, without you having to try and take control. Remember, as a human being, there's only so much that you can do with your physical body So, because you've done so much already with your physical, now it's time for you to let go and allow the spiritual to manifest, to work its magic. And that's the next thing that it is that I see is, and it's wild to me. This is wild to me because I see the word innocence. And I also see this connection to sexual energy. And when I say sexual energy, I'm not saying, it's definitely like root chakra stirring. And I'm not saying, I don't want you guys to hear this and think that I'm saying, you know, go out and have sex or whatever in order to activate this energy. But what it is it's like this raw primal energy that is getting stirred to life. And it starts from the base. It starts from the base of the root. And if you check out Kundalini energy, it really is kind of nudging towards that. It's almost, it's the same thing actually. This is actually, and when I sat with this, I'm like, okay, what are we working with? But it's the source of magic. It's the source of creation. It's the source of where abundance has the ability to have a firm foundation to grow from. And what I see is people moving from this space. And this is where innocence comes from, because in our society, we look at sexual energy as a negative thing and we try to repress it. But what we're doing is we're repressing our desire. We're repressing our passion. We're repressing our creation. And then society takes sexual energy and then makes it something other than what it actually is. But in the spiritual world, this sexual energy and this drive, this passion, this expression is very innocent. It's actually very pure. It's very innocent. So what I see is, and I'm even as I'm talking, I'm asking my guides, okay, how are we going to do this? How can my tribe channel this? What do they need to do in order to access it? Creation, creativity. For some of you guys, you need to go into a space. It's a cave. To remove yourself from the voices, remove yourself from the outside world, from the external, so you can get into a space in the internal, so you can get back to that innocent space of creation and primal just expression. No limit to yourself, no limit to what you can do, no limit to how you can do it, no rules, no regulation. In fact, that's what I wrote down. No restrictions, no rules. It's okay, what I wrote is, you know what came through too is the word turn of events. It's almost as if this full moon acts as a trigger. For some of you guys, you'll see it right away. But for others, it's over time. It's a change of events. It's a change of circumstances that has already been set into motion that you can feel within you. And that, again, is connected to sexual energy is not the right word. I feel like I'm not doing you enough. I'm not doing justice for this, but it's coming from this root chakra. Some of you guys may actually know the word, but I don't know it right now. I'm only talking about energy and what I know in this moment and how it's coming across to me. But it's coming across as this sexual passion, desire, devotion, creation, expression that builds up, builds up, builds up, builds up. And then it puts you in the space of whatever it is that you're wanting and wishing to achieve and to attract, but also what the universe has for you. So this gift, whatever that gift is. And what I see is the union of masculine and feminine energy. Now, again, this doesn't mean man and women coming together, or, you know, masculine woman and feminine woman coming together, unless that is what's going on in your life when it comes to people merging together in intimacy. But it's not just that, it's you merging with your life path. And it comes from this space of real, raw creation. Society holds us back in a lot of ways with these rules and what we can do in our belief system that limits us. But this is not a part of that. This is total, like raw. This is raw creativity, raw potential, raw buildup. It comes from a space of pure emotion. It comes from a space of, this is my idea, this is my God-given talent, this is what I want for myself. And that's why it's like has a sexual like connection to it, because there is no like hold back to it. It's intimate, it's infinite, it's connected, it's everything and nothing at the same time. It's crazy what I was writing down. what I see is miraculous turn of events. That's what I wrote down that came through, miraculous healing. And you guys know when I channel messages, I write things down and my hands, they tingle and I just know energy's flowing through it. Miraculous healing was something that came through, all because you allow yourself to get into this space of exposure, and it's sacred. That's why it's very important you're very careful about who you're sharing your energy with, your time with, what space you're in. Because with the wrong person or the wrong time, the wrong area, you'll expose yourself, you'll be vulnerable, you'll be in this primal space, and you open up the door for whatever is there. So you want to make sure that the energy around you is very positive and supportive. And if you don't have a positive, supportive environment, then you make that for yourself. You go into your sacred space. And what I see is people channeling this energy into art, into poetry, into whatever it is that you're destined and designed to do. For me, it's healing and sharing messages, all because I allow myself to go into that space where I have no filter. I don't have to hold myself back. I don't have to make things look prettier than they are, because they just are what they are, and I'm celebrated for who I am. And I share that with my tribe, and you guys love me and I love you. So it's coming from that same space of creation and expression, because we have, and I've created a space that allows me to be vulnerable and allows me to share what I have to inspire you. So what I see is whatever that means for you. I see you merging that masculine energy within you and that feminine energy within you, putting the two of those together, around the energy of the full moon, in order to set this in motion and to build what is to come, especially as these planets are currently retrograde. And a lot of it requires you to be vulnerable. It requires you to release. You can't have an orgasm. You can't take things to the next level if you're pent up, if you don't allow yourself to be free, if you don't allow yourself to have intimacy, if you don't allow yourself to be exposed, if you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable, if you're not open to connecting with your passion and sharing that passion with the world or with another person. So again, it sounds like it's sexual, but really it's not. It's sexual energy in a way, and I'm sorry I don't have the word. My mom probably knows. I'll probably ask her later. But how it comes across is this is what sexual energy comes from, and this is what it can do. And this doesn't mean that you're having sex or that you're, working with that in that physical way. It's this raw, primal space that is intimate, that is vulnerable, that is powerful, that is sacred, that is divine, and the merging of masculine energy and feminine energy into one in order to create this next level experience of gift, of love, of magic. And that's another thing that I see is people working their magic. That's why I think you guys, even if you don't think that you're a powerful healer, a powerful manifester, or a powerful magic maker, this is your time to go into that sacred space and to connect with the realness of who you are to your divine core, that gift, and get into that space and that element so that you're able to step into your own personal power, masculine, in order for you to receive feminine, in order for you to create feminine, because the seed was planted, masculine and feminine coming together and brought to fruition. So that's ultimately what I see. This is not something that you force. This is not something that you can fake. It's not something that you force. It's something that you sit back and allow yourself to receive. It is a complete act of letting go, so that you're able to have this experience. And and when I say effortless, there is no strive, there is no force, it's a flowing. And for some of you guys, I don't want you to beat yourself up, because this is unraveling all that you have learned so far. So some of you have to just get into this space of allowing yourself to be uncomfortable and allow yourself to look at yourself as this animal, the animal within you, and just look at it and be like, this is who I am to my core. If I was to remove all of society, if I was to remove all of what I've learned, this is my natural state of being. So what I see is the stripping away of that. There is no judgment. There is no ego. There is no negativity. There is no expectation. You just are who you are in that moment, and being in that creates all that you need and all that you want and all that you will need in order to get to where it is that you're ultimately going. So that's what comes through. I see the merging of body and soul. Both of those things are so important. We talked about those in one of my past videos of the physical body, but also the spiritual. Honoring the physical body and taking care of the physical, so that because it's a vessel, it's a tool to your spiritual self. The one can't exist without the other. They need each other. So they're both very important. I see masculine and feminine energy. I see the combination of heaven meeting earth. So physical here, meeting up with spiritual again. Merging those two, they meet here on this common ground, on this playing field where they just, it's balance. The other thing that I see is birth, the rebirth, birthing yourself. If you look at a woman who's giving birth, she's not putting on a facade for people. She is grunting, she's moaning, she's in her primal raw state. It's so real, it's so raw. She's not, you know, making it look like anything other. And there is magic that happens. If you watch a birth happen, there's magic that happens in that environment. That environment, when the baby comes through, changes immediately, because it's spiritual merging with physical in order to manifest something. So that's what I see here. There is no facade. You can't fake that. Even if a woman wanted to, she's going to go back into her primal state, her raw state, because that's what is required of her. If she doesn't do that, the baby's at risk, she's at risk, and it can't happen. The magic can't happen. And that's what I see for you guys, is a birth, a rebirth, when you enter into the space of rawness. And it's funny, because Capricorn, this full moon is happening in the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn is not about being raw and primal. If anything, Capricorn is very reserved and structured and put together and poised. But Cancer is the very opposite, and Cancer is all about emotion, and Cancer holds nothing back. So that's what I see here. And I see things being that when you guys enter into your space of power, and you are, it's like infinite power, because it's connected to the divine, it's connected to this higher source. When you get to that, something is being resurrected from the dead. Something that was lying dormant, it comes up, it comes to life. Whether it be your soulmate, whether it be your creative passion, whether it be your career, an idea, something that you need to birth, something that you need to do, it comes to life because you allowed yourself to get into the space of primal, I don't need to hold myself back. The full moon in general exposes everything. Emotion is raw. That's why people end up, you know, going crazy under the full moon. That's why there's deaths that happen. That's why everyone says, oh my gosh, is it a full moon? Because people are acting like lunatics. You want to know why? Because the full moon triggers that primal energy, that raw energy, and it's so hard to hide it. If you're normally a reserved person, it's hard for you to hold that emotion back. It just spills out. That's what the full moon does. So that's what I see here. So be very careful about the energy that you're sharing. Notice that when you go into your sacred space, that it is very sacred, it's very divine, and you need to honor that and see it for what it is. Don't try to make things more than what they are. I mean, even as I work with very simple stuff. I'm not trying to put on a show for anybody, and I'm not trying to make myself look anything more than I am. I'm just Jessica Alexandria. And I'm working with my energy, and I share that, and I keep it very simple because I don't need anything else clouding up my focus. It comes from within. It's not something that comes from external stuff. It comes from internal. So that's what I see for you guys. When you go into your sacred space, keep it as simple as possible for the most part, because that's what activates that energy. Right now I have a Apophyllite here. This thing is insane. And it didn't take me that long to work with my energy in order to get these cards going. And I want to give some of the credit to that, and also to the full moon, and also to the space that I'm in right now. So that's what came through. Yeah, that's it. I hope that makes sense. I hope you guys are good wherever you're at. I hope that this full moon has been absolutely divine for you already, and that it continues to be magnificent. I don't want to make this video too much longer because I want to go and live my life and take my time with my mom and my pup and doing what we're going to do today. I've got many surprises coming for you guys. Very exciting events that we're going to be doing together that I'll be vlogging. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for sharing this video, for your thumbs up, for your comments, sharing your experience with me, and I will talk to you soon. I love you. Bye.